The moment Felicity Rodriguez stepped off the bus in the wealthy neighborhood of Riverside Heights, she knew she did not belong here. Her second-hand backpack felt heavier on her shoulders as she walked past pristine lawns and luxury cars, checking the address on her phone one more time. The cooking school had sent her on this assignment, a chance to cater a private dinner party for extra credit and desperately needed cash. She was a culinary student working 3 jobs to pay tuition, living in a cramped studio apartment she shared with 2 roommates. This world of old money and pristine everything felt like another planet. The house at the end of the street was not just a house. It was an estate, all white columns and sprawling gardens that probably cost more to maintain than her entire yearly income. Felicity smoothed down her simple black pants and white button-up shirt, the closest thing she had to professional attire, and rang the doorbell. A woman in her 60s answered, her silver hair pulled back in an elegant bun, her expression immediately cooling when she took in Felicity's appearance. "You must be from the cooking school." "Yes, madam, Felicity Rodriguez. I'm here to help with tonight's dinner party." The woman's lips pressed into a thin line. "Follow me. The kitchen is this way." As Felicity followed her through marble hallways decorated with oil paintings and antiques, she felt the weight of disapproval radiating from the older woman. She had felt this before, the subtle judgment from people who looked at her brown skin, her thrift store clothes, her worn sneakers, and decided they knew everything about her. The kitchen was larger than her entire apartment, all gleaming stainless steel and top-of-the-line appliances. Another woman was already there, the actual head chef for the evening, who gave Felicity a warm smile and immediately put her to work prepping vegetables. "Don't mind Mrs. Catherine," the chef whispered. "She's protective of this family, been with them for 30 years. "Who exactly am I cooking for?" Felicity asked, dicing onions with practiced precision. "The Castellano family. Old money, real estate empire. Tonight is a dinner party for the son, Ethan. His parents are trying to set him up with some senator's daughter." Felicity focused on her work, letting her hands move through the familiar motions of cooking. This was where she felt confident, where her background did not matter. In the kitchen, skills spoke louder than bank accounts. The dinner party started at 7. Felicity helped plate the first course, ensuring every element was perfect, every garnish placed with care. As she worked, she caught glimpses of the dining room through the serving window. Crystal chandeliers, fresh flowers on every surface, guests in designer clothes holding champagne flutes. And then she saw him. Ethan Castellano stood near the window, clearly trying to escape conversation with a blonde woman in a dress that probably cost more than Felicity's car. He was tall, dark-haired, with sharp features that might have seemed severe if not for the warmth in his brown eyes. He looked uncomfortable in his tailored suit, like he would rather be anywhere else. "That's him," the chef murmured. 31 years old, runs the family's commercial real estate division, worth millions in his own right, billions if you count the family money. Felicity should not have cared. She should not have noticed the way his smile did not quite reach his eyes when he talked to the blonde woman, or how he kept glancing toward the door like he was planning an escape route. She had learned early that people from different worlds did not mix, not really. Her own father had taught her that lesson when he worked himself to death as a janitor, cleaning offices for men who never learned his name. The evening progressed smoothly until disaster struck during the main course. The chef received an emergency call. Her daughter had been in a car accident. Nothing life-threatening, but she needed to go immediately. Suddenly, Felicity was alone, responsible for serving the main course and dessert to 15 wealthy guests who expected perfection. She took a deep breath and got to work. She had trained for this, spent countless hours perfecting her craft. Her hands were steady as she plated the herb-crusted lamb, roasted vegetables, and potato gratin. Each plate was a work of art. As she brought the first plates into the dining room, she felt every eye turn toward her. The servers had left with the chef, and protocol demanded someone from the household staff serve the meal. But Mrs. Catherine was busy managing the wine service, which meant Felicity was on her own. "And who is this?" a woman dripping in pearls asked, her tone making it clear Felicity was being found wanting. "I'm the chef for this evening," Felicity said clearly, setting down plates with practiced grace. "The chef? Where did the Castellanos find you?" another woman asked, exchanging glances with her companions. Felicity felt heat rise in her cheeks, but kept her expression neutral. "The cooking school sent me. I hope you enjoy the meal." She made it through serving everyone, aware of the whispers following her, the way some guests looked at her like she was part of the decoration rather than a person. She was heading back to the kitchen when a voice stopped her. "Excuse me." Ethan Castellano stood in the doorway, his presence somehow filling the space. Up close, he was even more striking, but it was his expression that caught her off guard. He looked genuinely apologetic. "I wanted to say that lamb is the best thing I have eaten in months. My mother usually hires caterers who care more about presentation than flavor. This actually tastes like food." Felicity blinked, caught off guard by the compliment. "Thank you. That means a lot. Also, I wanted to apologize for my mother's guests. Some of them forgot their manners along with their humanity." A small smile tugged at her lips. "I've dealt with worse." "I don't doubt it." He extended his hand. "Ethan Castellano, Felicity Rodriguez." His handshake was firm, warm, and lasted a moment longer than necessary. "Rodriguez. Is that Spanish?" "Mexican. My grandparents came here in the 70s. My family came from Italy in the 20s. Different circumstances, I'm sure, but we all started somewhere." Something in his tone suggested he understood more than she expected. "How long have you been cooking?" "Since I was 6. My abuela taught me. She said food was the language everyone understood." "She sounds like a wise woman." "She was. She passed last year." "I'm sorry." And he genuinely looked it. None of the hollow sympathy she had grown used to from people who had never lost anything. Mrs. Catherine appeared in the doorway, her expression pinched. "Mr. Ethan, Miss Hampton is looking for you." Ethan's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. "Tell her I'll be there in a moment. Your mother wants you to show her the garden." "I'm having a conversation, Catherine." The older woman's gaze flickered to Felicity with undisguised disapproval before she retreated. Ethan sighed, running a hand through his hair in a gesture that seemed habitual. "Duty calls, apparently. But Felicity, I meant what I said. This meal is exceptional. You have a real gift." He left before she could respond, but something warm had lodged itself in her chest. She finished the evening in a daze, plating dessert, cleaning the kitchen, accepting payment from Mrs. Catherine, who handed her the envelope like she was afraid their hands might touch. Felicity did not expect to see Ethan Castellano again. She returned to her world of early morning shifts at the diner, afternoon classes at culinary school, and evening catering gigs. The encounter became a pleasant memory, nothing more, until 3 weeks later when he walked into the diner where she worked. She was in the middle of the breakfast rush, juggling orders and coffee refills, when she looked up and there he was. Ethan Castellano, looking completely out of place in his expensive wool coat, standing in the doorway of Rosie's diner like he had stumbled into an alternate universe. Their eyes met. Recognition flickered across his face, followed by something that looked like relief. He sat at the counter, right in her section. Felicity grabbed a menu and a water glass, her heart beating faster than the situation warranted. "Welcome to Rosie's," Can I start you with coffee? Felicity. He said her name like he had been thinking about it. I've been looking for you. She nearly dropped the water glass. Looking for me? The cooking school wouldn't give me your contact information. Privacy policy, which I respect, but it made finding you difficult. I've been driving around to different diners and restaurants near the school, hoping I would run into you. That's either very dedicated or slightly stalkerish. But she was smiling as she said it. Dedicated. I promise I'm not a stalker. He smiled back, and it transformed his entire face, making him look younger, less burdened. I have a proposition for you. I'm listening. My company is hosting a charity gala next month. We usually hire one of the big catering companies, but they are predictable and honestly boring. I want someone with real talent, someone who cooks with passion. I want you. Felicity's mind raced. A charity gala for a real estate company would mean exposure, connections, a chance to prove herself on a bigger stage. It could also mean setting herself up for disappointment, for being reminded once again that she did not belong in that world. I'm still in school. I'm not a professional caterer. You're better than most professional caterers I've met, and I'll pay you well, more than well. Why me specifically? There are dozens of talented chefs in this city. Ethan leaned forward, his eyes serious. Because your food has heart in it. I could taste it in every bite. Most of the people I deal with have forgotten what that feels like. I want to remind them. How could she say no to that? Okay, I'll do it. His smile was like sunrise. Really, really. But I'll need details, guest count, dietary restrictions, budget. Come to my office tomorrow, we'll go over everything. Here. He pulled out a business card, then grabbed a pen and wrote something on the back. That's my personal cell phone. Call me if you need anything before then. Felicity took the card, hyper-aware of how their fingers brushed. I should get back to work. Of course. And Felicity, thank you. She watched him leave, then realized she had forgotten to take his order. Her coworker, Marina, appeared at her elbow with a knowing look. Girl, who was that? A client. A client who looks at you like you hung the moon. Sure. Felicity shook her head, but she could not stop smiling for the rest of her shift. The next day, she took the bus to downtown, to the gleaming high-rise that housed Castellano Properties. The lobby alone was intimidating, all polished marble and modern art. She gave her name to the receptionist, who made a call and then directed her to the executive elevators. Ethan's office was on the 30th floor, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. He stood when she entered, coming around his desk to greet her properly. You made it. Can I get you anything? Coffee, water? I'm fine, thank you. They spent the next 2 hours going over details. The gala would host 200 guests, all deep-pocketed donors to a charity that built affordable housing. The irony was not lost on Felicity. Wealthy people patting themselves on the back for helping the poor while eating expensive food. But Ethan seemed different. He talked about the charity with genuine passion, explained how he had started volunteering with them in college and never stopped. He showed her photos of families moving into new homes, children playing in safe neighborhoods. My grandfather came here with nothing, he said, looking out at the city. He worked construction, saved every penny, bought his first building when he was 40. He never forgot where he came from. He made my father promise to give back, and my father made me promise the same. That's rare. Most people forget the moment they have enough money to make forgetting comfortable. I've noticed you don't pull punches. I can't afford to. People like me don't get second chances if we mess up. Something flickered in his eyes, an understanding that surprised her. People like you know what I mean. I'm a scholarship student working 3 jobs, 1 mistake and I'm done. For what it's worth, I don't see you that way. I see someone talented and driven who's going to do incredible things." Felicity felt something shift between them, the air growing charged. She cleared her throat, focusing back on the menu plans. They met 3 more times over the next 2 weeks, ostensibly to plan the gala, but their conversations ranged far beyond food. Ethan told her about studying business at Harvard because it was expected, when what he really wanted was to study architecture. She told him about her dream of opening her own restaurant, a place that served her grandmother's recipes alongside her own creations. "Why don't you?" he asked during their 4th meeting, this time at a coffee shop near her school. "You know how much it costs to open a restaurant. I'll be paying off student loans for the next decade. There are investors' business loans, for people with collateral and connections. I have neither." Ethan looked like he wanted to say something but held back. Instead, he asked, "If money were no object, what would your restaurant look like?" Felicity let herself dream out loud, describing warm colors and mismatched furniture, a menu that changed with the seasons, a space that felt like coming home. Ethan listened with complete attention, asking questions, offering ideas, making her feel like her dream was not just possible but inevitable. She was falling for him. The realization hit her one night as she lay in bed, staring at the ceiling of her cramped apartment. She was falling for a millionaire who lived in a different world, who had responsibilities and expectations she could not begin to understand. It was foolish and dangerous and completely inevitable. The night of the gala arrived faster than she expected. Felicity had recruited 2 of her classmates to help, and together they transformed the hotel ballroom's kitchen into their command center. The menu was ambitious: past appetizers, a 3-course dinner, and a dessert spread that would make people weep. She was too busy to be nervous until she saw the guests arriving. Women in evening gowns, men in tuxedos, the kind of wealth that was so old and established it did not need to announce itself. And there was Ethan, looking devastating in a perfectly tailored black tuxedo, greeting guests with practiced charm. He caught her eye through the kitchen window and winked. That simple gesture steadied her nerves. The dinner was a triumph. Felicity heard the compliments through the servers, saw the empty plates coming back to the kitchen. For 3 hours, she was in her element, creating and plating and making sure every detail was perfect. She was cleaning up, her classmates having already left when Ethan appeared in the kitchen doorway. "You're still here. Someone has to make sure everything is cleaned properly. The hotel staff can do that. Come with me." "Where?" "You cooked for 200 people and didn't get to see any of the event. That's not right." Before she could protest, he took her hand and led her into the ballroom. Most of the guests had moved to the adjoining room for dancing, but the main space still held a few clusters of people talking over wine. "Ethan, I can't be out here. I'm covered in food stains. You're perfect, and you deserve to see what you created." He walked her around the room, pointing out details she had been too busy to notice. The way her food had been paired with wines, the centerpieces that echoed the colors in her dishes, the donation total displayed on a screen that had exceeded expectations by 40%. "You did this," he said softly. "Your food made people open their wallets and their hearts. You should be proud." "I am, and terrified. This feels too big. You belong here as much as anyone, more than most." "Do I? Look at them, Ethan." She gestured to the remaining guests. "Look at their clothes, their jewelry. I don't belong in this world. Maybe this world needs more people like you, people who remember what actually matters." Before she could respond, an older couple approached them. The woman looked vaguely familiar, and Felicity realized with a jolt that she had seen her on the news, some kind of philanthropist or socialite. "Ethan, darling, you must introduce us to this young woman. Everyone is asking about the chef." Ethan made introductions, and Felicity found herself shaking hands with people who usually existed only on television or in magazines. They praised her food, asked about her background, and seemed genuinely interested in her answers. For a moment, she let herself believe that maybe the divide was not as uncrossable as she had thought. Then she saw Ethan's parents. They stood near the entrance, both impeccably dressed, watching their son with expressions that made Felicity's stomach sink. His mother, the same woman who had looked at her with such disapproval at the dinner party, wore a smile that did not reach her eyes. His father, tall and commanding with silver hair, looked like he was calculating something unpleasant. "Ethan," his mother said, approaching with the kind of purposeful stride that meant trouble, "we need to speak with you, privately." Ethan's hand found Felicity's back, a subtle gesture of support. "Mother, father, you remember Felicity Rodriguez. She catered tonight's event." "Yes." It was adequate. His mother's tone suggested it was anything but. "Ethan, now please." Felicity touched his arm. "It's fine. I should finish cleaning up anyway." She retreated to the kitchen, her heart pounding. Through the door she could hear raised voices, though not the words. She forced herself to focus on packing up her equipment, but her hands shook slightly. 20 minutes later, Ethan reappeared. His jaw was tight, his eyes stormy. "I'm sorry about that." "What did they say?" The usual concerns about family reputation, appropriate social circles, maintaining distance from staff. His voice was bitter. "They've been trying to control my life for 31 years. I'm done letting them." "Ethan, they're your parents. They're people who care more about appearances than anything real. Do you know what my mother said? That you were clearly talented, but that I needed to maintain professional boundaries. Like I'm some kind of aristocrat who shouldn't mingle with the help." He laughed, but there was no humor in it. "I told them I would see whoever I wanted, and what I wanted was to see you." Felicity's breath caught. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying that I haven't stopped thinking about you since the moment you walked into my family's kitchen. I'm saying that every time we meet, I find another reason to admire you. I'm saying that I want to take you to dinner, not as a client, but as someone who is completely fascinated by you. We're from different worlds. We're from the same city, the same generation. We both care about food and family and building something meaningful. Why does anything else matter? Because it matters to your family, to your world. Then maybe I need a new world." He stepped closer, his voice softening. "Felicity, I know this is complicated. I know there are obstacles. But I also know that I have never connected with anyone the way I connect with you. Tell me I'm not alone in feeling this." She could have lied, should have lied. Instead, she told the truth. "You're not alone." His smile was like dawn breaking. "Then let's figure it out together. One day at a time. No pressure, no expectations. Just us." "Just us," she echoed, and let herself believe it might be possible. Their first official date was at a small Italian restaurant in her neighborhood, the kind of place with checked tablecloths and candles in wine bottles. Ethan insisted she pick the location, and she wanted him to see her world, the places where she felt comfortable. He fit in better than she expected. He charmed the elderly owner, asked intelligent questions about the menu, and ate his pasta like it was the best meal he had ever had. They talked for hours, the conversation flowing as easily as it had during their planning meetings, but now with an added layer of intimacy. "Tell me something nobody knows about you," Felicity said, twirling pasta on her fork. Ethan considered the question. "I hate the real estate business. I'm good at it, but I find it soulless most of the time. Moving money around, making deals, building things that will outlast me but mean nothing." "Then why do you do it?" "Family obligation, legacy, fear of disappointing my father." He met her eyes. All terrible reasons, I know. What would you do instead? Honestly, I'd design buildings, affordable housing specifically. I'd combine my business knowledge with actual purpose, create spaces where families could build lives, not just exist. That's beautiful. That's impossible, according to my father. He says I'm being naive, that the family business needs me. The family business or your father's ego? Ethan laughed, surprised. You really don't hold back. Life's too short. My grandmother used to say that we're all dying slowly, so we might as well be honest quickly. I like that. I like you. He reached across the table, taking her hand. This is the best first date I've ever had. How many first dates have you had? Too many with the wrong people. My mother has been trying to set me up with appropriate women since I graduated college. Daughters of business associates, family friends, women who check all the right boxes on paper. And in person, boring, vapid, obsessed with status, nothing like you. Felicity squeezed his hand. I'm terrified this is going to end badly. Then let's make sure it doesn't. They started seeing each other regularly, stealing time between her classes and shifts and his business obligations. Ethan would pick her up after work, not caring that she smelled like fryer oil and exhaustion. She would meet him for lunch in his office, bringing homemade meals that made him close his eyes in appreciation. They explored the city together, finding beauty in both her neighborhood markets and his museum openings. But the real world kept intruding. Ethan's mother called constantly, making pointed comments about appropriate relationships and family expectations. His father threatened to cut him out of the business if he did not start taking things seriously. The society pages started printing speculation about why Ethan Castellano was suddenly avoiding eligible socialites. Felicity's world had its own complications. Her mother, when Felicity finally told her about Ethan, was skeptical in a different way. Mija, be careful. Rich men, they play with girls like you. They don't marry you, Mama. It's not like that. Ethan is different. They're all different until they're not. Remember your cousin Maria. She dated that lawyer, thought he was serious. Then his family got involved. This is my life. I get to choose. Her mother's expression softened. I know, baby. I just don't want to see you hurt. These people, they have power we don't. They can hurt you in ways you don't expect. The warning proved prescient 2 months into their relationship. Felicity was leaving her morning shift at the diner when a black Mercedes pulled up. Mrs. Catherine, Ethan's family's longtime housekeeper, stepped out. Miss Rodriguez, Mrs. Castellano would like to speak with you. Felicity's blood ran cold. Why? She's in the car. It will only take a moment. Every instinct screamed at her to walk away. Instead, she approached the car. The back window rolled down, revealing Ethan's mother in all her polished, cold perfection. Get in. We need to talk. Felicity climbed into the car, feeling like she was entering enemy territory. Mrs. Castellano did not waste time on pleasantries. I'll be direct. You are disrupting my son's life. He has responsibilities, a position in society, expectations to meet. You are a distraction he cannot afford. With respect, Ethan is an adult. He makes his own choices. Does he? Or are you manipulating him? A pretty girl from nothing suddenly catching the eye of a millionaire. It's quite the coincidence. Anger flared hot in Felicity's chest. I didn't chase your son. He found me, and I care about him regardless of his money. How convenient. And I'm sure you'd care about him just as much if he were a schoolteacher or a mechanic. Actually, yes, I would, because I care about who he is, not what he has. Mrs. Castellano's expression did not change, but something flickered in her eyes. You seem sincere. That almost makes this worse. You genuinely don't understand the damage you are doing. What damage? Making him happy, making him forget his place. Ethan has a duty to his family, to our name, to the legacy his grandfather built. That legacy requires certain standards, certain alliances. You, Miss Rodriguez, are neither. So this is about your social standing, about appearances. This is about reality. Our worlds don't mix. You think they can in your romantic notions, but they cannot. Eventually, Ethan will realize that. He'll see that choosing you means giving up everything else. His family, his business, his future. Can you live with yourself knowing you cost him all that? The words hit harder than Felicity wanted to admit. If his family requires him to give up happiness, maybe the family is the problem. Perhaps, but it's still his family, his blood, his responsibility. And when he has to choose, Miss Rodriguez, what will you do? Will you make him pick between you and everything he has ever known? Mrs. Castellano leaned forward. I'm not a monster. I'm a mother protecting her son, and I'm offering you a way out before this becomes messier. Name your price. Felicity's vision went red. My price? Everyone has one. Tell me what it would take for you to walk away cleanly, enough to finish school, to open your restaurant. I can make your dreams come true, Miss Rodriguez. All you have to do is leave my son alone. For one horrible moment, Felicity considered it. Not because she wanted the money, but because maybe Mrs. Castellano was right. Maybe loving Ethan was selfish, forcing him to choose between her and his entire life. Then she thought about his smile, his laugh, the way he looked at her like she was the most important person in the world. The way he talked about his dreams, dreams that aligned so perfectly with hers. No, I won't take your money, and I won't walk away. If Ethan wants me gone, he can tell me himself. But I won't let you buy me off like I'm some kind of problem to be solved. She got out of the car and walked away, her hands shaking with anger and fear. She made it 2 blocks before she had to sit down, the weight of the conversation crushing her. That night, she told Ethan everything. They were in her apartment, cramped and shabby compared to his condo, but she wanted him in her space, her reality. He listened without interrupting, his expression growing darker with each word. When she finished, he stood and paced her tiny living room. I'm going to talk to my mother. Ethan, wait, she had no right. She's worried about you. In her own twisted way, she thinks she's protecting you. By insulting the woman I love, the words hung in the air. Love, he had said love. Ethan. He turned to her, his eyes intense. I love you, Felicity. I should have said it before. I've known for weeks. I love your passion, your honesty, your strength. I love how you make me want to be better, to do more meaningful things with my life. I love you, and I'm not letting my mother or anyone else take that away from us. Felicity stood, crossing to him, taking his face in her hands. I love you too. But your mother is right about one thing. We have to think about the future. What happens when loving me costs you everything else? Then I lose everything else. I don't care. I care. I won't let you destroy your life for me. You're not destroying anything. You're giving me a reason to build something new. He pulled her close. We'll figure it out together, I promise. She wanted to believe him. She chose to believe him. The next few months were harder. Ethan's relationship with his parents deteriorated rapidly. His mother stopped calling. His father threatened to remove him from the family business. Society pages printed nasty speculation about the mystery woman who had captured Ethan Castellano. Someone leaked photos of them together, and Felicity found herself scrutinized by strangers on the internet. But there were unexpected allies. Some of Ethan's friends, people Felicity assumed would dismiss her, turned out to be kind and welcoming. His college roommate, Marcus, became a particular champion, telling her stories about Ethan that made her love him even more. He's been different since he met you, Marcus said during a dinner party at his house. Lighter, more like the guy I knew in college before the family pressure got to him. Felicity's world opened up too. She graduated from culinary school at the top of her class. 3 restaurants offered her positions. And Ethan, without telling her, had compiled a portfolio of her work and connected her with investors interested in backing new restaurants. "You did what?" she asked when she found out. "I didn't give them money, I just made introductions. The rest was all you, your talent and your vision." "Ethan, that's still using your connections. So, you have talent, they have money. Why shouldn't those things meet?" "You would have gotten here eventually anyway. I just sped up the timeline." She could not stay mad at him, especially when one of the investors offered to back her dream restaurant with minimal interference. For the first time, her future looked bright and possible. Then Ethan's father had a heart attack. It was not severe, but it was a warning. Suddenly, the family dynamics shifted. Ethan's mother called him, her voice smaller than Felicity had ever heard it, asking him to come home, asking him to help run the business while his father recovered. "I have to go," Ethan said, looking torn. "He's my father." "I know, go, be with your family, come with me." "Ethan, your mother tried to pay me to leave you. I don't think she wants me at family dinners." "I don't care what she wants, I want you there." But Felicity convinced him to go alone, to focus on his father without the added tension of their relationship. It was the hardest thing she had ever done, watching him walk away, wondering if his family would use this crisis to drive a permanent wedge between them. He called her every night, his voice exhausted but determined. He told her about his father's recovery, about tense conversations with his mother, about feeling pulled in a dozen directions. "Come home," Felicity finally said on the 5th night. "You're wearing yourself down. I can't leave yet." "But I miss you. God, I miss you." "I miss you too." 2 weeks after the heart attack, Ethan called and asked her to come to his parents' house. Felicity's first instinct was to refuse, but something in his voice made her agree. She took the bus to Riverside Heights again, her heart pounding. But this time, when she rang the doorbell, Ethan answered. He pulled her into his arms immediately, holding her like she was oxygen and he had been drowning. "Thank you for coming." "What's going on?" "My parents want to talk to us, both of us." "Ethan, I don't think that's a good idea." "Please, trust me." They walked together to the sitting room where his parents waited. His father looked thinner, older, but his eyes were sharp. His mother's expression was unreadable. "Miss Rodriguez," his father said, "please sit." Felicity sat on the edge of an antique chair, hyper-aware of her simple dress, her scuffed shoes, everything that marked her as an outsider in this place. Ethan's father spoke first. "I've been doing a lot of thinking during my recovery, about family, legacy, what actually matters. And I realized something. I've been so focused on maintaining what my father built that I forgot why he built it in the first place." He reached for a photo on the side table, handing it to Felicity. It showed a young couple, clearly in love, standing in front of a modest house. "That's my father and mother. She was Irish, he was Italian. Her family disowned her for marrying beneath her station. His family was furious he married outside the community. They built their life together anyway, through hard work and determination and love. They taught me that family was everything." He paused and his wife took over. Her voice was quieter than Felicity had ever heard it. "Then we forgot that lesson. We got comfortable, successful. We started caring about the wrong things: status, reputation, maintaining our position." She looked at Felicity directly. "I offered you money to leave my son. It was cruel and wrong, and I apologize." Felicity could barely breathe. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because Ethan has been miserable these past 2 weeks, his father said. "And because when he talks about you, I see the same look my father had when he talked about my mother. Like you make the world make sense." Ethan took Felicity's hand, squeezing gently. His mother continued, "We're not asking you to forgive us immediately. We know we've been terrible, but we're asking for a chance to get to know you properly, to see what our son sees. And if you still don't approve, Felicity asked, her voice stronger than she felt, then we'll have to learn to live with it, his father said. Because we almost lost Ethan completely, and we're not willing to make that mistake. Family is supposed to support each other, not tear each other apart. It was not a perfect reconciliation. There were still awkward moments, still lingering tensions, but it was a start. Over the next year, things slowly changed. Ethan's mother made efforts, asking Felicity about her restaurant plans, attending the opening night and bringing friends who became regular customers. His father offered business advice without condescension, treating Felicity like an equal. Felicity's mother warmed to Ethan too, especially after he started showing up to family dinners with flowers and an appetite for her cooking. He learned Spanish to talk to Felicity's grandmother's friends, listened to stories about the old country, treated everyone with genuine respect. The restaurant, named Abuela's after Felicity's grandmother, became a success. Food critics praised the unique menu, the warm atmosphere, the way every dish told a story. Ethan helped with the business side without overshadowing Felicity's creative control. They became true partners. 18 months after that first dinner party, Ethan proposed. Not in some grand public gesture, but in Abuela's kitchen after closing, surrounded by the smells of the day's cooking and the comfortable silence of people who truly knew each other. "Marry me," he said simply. "Not because it makes sense on paper or because our families finally approve. Marry me because I can't imagine my life without you in it, because you make me better, because I love you more than I thought it was possible to love anyone." Felicity said yes through tears, and they held each other in that kitchen, their kingdom built from nothing, proof that different worlds could not only meet but merge into something beautiful. The wedding was a blend of both families, both cultures. Italian traditions mixed with Mexican ones. His mother and her mother worked together on the planning, forming an unlikely friendship over shared determination to make the day perfect. His father walked with her mother, treating her with the respect she deserved. Felicity wore her grandmother's mantilla along with a dress that cost more than her first car but made her feel beautiful. Ethan cried when he saw her, not caring who witnessed his emotion. They held the reception at Abuela's, because where else would they celebrate their love but in the place that represented everything they had built together? 2 years after the wedding, Felicity stood in the kitchen of their house, a home they had bought together in a neighborhood that was neither too wealthy nor too poor, just right for who they were. She was testing a new recipe when Ethan came up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. "Smells good. It's a work in progress." His hands moved to her slightly rounded belly. "How are you feeling? Tired, excited, terrified, all normal according to the books." She turned in his arms, looking up at the man who had changed her entire life simply by appreciating her cooking, by seeing past the surface to who she really was. "You ever regret it, walking away from your old life?" "I didn't walk away from my life. I walked toward a better one." He kissed her forehead. "Besides, I didn't give up as much as you think. I still run the company, just with a different focus now. Affordable housing developments, community centers, projects that matter. Your father is proud of you. He told me last week that I finally understood what his father was trying to teach us. That wealth means nothing if you don't use it to build something meaningful." He placed his hand over hers on her belly. "We're building something pretty meaningful right here." Their daughter was born in spring, with her father's dark hair and her mother's determination. They named her Rosa, after Felicity's grandmother, and both families gathered to celebrate, the tensions and prejudices of the past giving way to shared joy in new life. Ethan proved to be a devoted father, changing diapers without complaint, singing lullabies in Italian and Spanish, treating his daughter like the most precious thing in the world. Felicity watched him rock Rosa to sleep one night and felt overwhelming gratitude for the courage they had both shown in choosing love over expectation. Abuela's expanded to a second location, then a third. Felicity published a cookbook that became a bestseller. Ethan launched a foundation focused on culinary education for underprivileged youth, giving other kids like Felicity a chance to chase their dreams. They had date nights every week, even with a toddler and busy careers. They cooked together, traveled together, built a life that was messy and beautiful and completely theirs. 10 years after that first dinner party, Felicity stood in the original Abuela's kitchen, preparing food for a celebration. Ethan's parents were renewing their vows, his father's heart attack a distant memory but a lasting lesson. They had asked Felicity to cater, and she had accepted with joy. Rosa helped her prep vegetables, chattering about school and friends and all the important concerns of a 10-year-old. Ethan came in with their younger son, Marco, who was 5 and already showing signs of his father's business sense and his mother's creativity. "How can I help?" Ethan asked, settling Marco at the counter with crayons. "Just be here. That's enough." He kissed her, soft and sweet, the kiss of two people who had weathered storms and come out stronger. "I love you. I love you too." That night, as both families celebrated together, sharing food and laughter and memories, Felicity looked around and saw what they had created. Not just a successful restaurant or a thriving business, but a family that had learned to grow beyond prejudice and expectation. A family that chose love over everything else. Her mother sat next to Ethan's mother, both grandmothers cooing over Marco's latest drawing. Her brothers talked sports with Ethan's cousins. The distinctions that once seemed insurmountable, money and background and social standing, had faded into irrelevance against the shared experience of loving the same people. Ethan found her hand, lacing their fingers together. "What are you thinking?" "That your mother was wrong. Our worlds didn't just mix. They created something entirely new, something better, something perfect." They stood together, surrounded by the family they had fought for, the love they had refused to give up, the life they had built from nothing but courage and determination, and the unshakable belief that sometimes different backgrounds could create the most beautiful future. And as Rosa ran past, chasing her cousin through the restaurant that bore her great-grandmother's name, Felicity knew that their story would continue, generation after generation. Proof that love could overcome anything if you were brave enough to fight for it.